As the humanitarian crisis in Gaza continues to escalate, with families torn apart and entire communities reduced to rubble, global pressure mounts and is mounting for an end to the violence. The recent Arab Islamic Summit has amplified calls for an immediate ceasefire, demanding urgent action to halt the devastating loss of life. Leaders across the Muslim world have joined voices with the international human rights groups and citizens worldwide, appealing to the global community for intervention. But on the ground in Gaza, the struggle to survive endures, with more than 70% of casualties being women and children. Trust TV's Ibrahim Shehu examines the situation.
It's been weeks since the world's attention turned to Gaza, yet the reality on the ground is worse than ever. The latest UN reports reveal a chilling statistics. Over 70% of those killed in the conflict are women and children. Families once whole are now fractured. Dreams once vivid are now shattered. For ordinary Palestinians, survival is no longer about living. It's about enduring the unendurable. And yet, despite the carnage, the cries from Gaza seem to fall on deaf ears.
It's not a war between Hamas and Israel. It's not a war between Palestinians and the Israeli occupation forces. It's a genocidal campaign launched by Israel on the people of Gaza. People should remember that that place actually was subjected to a suffocating blockade since the election of Hamas almost 18 years ago, almost 19 years ago. And the international community did nothing to address the issue of the blockade.
Efforts to pass a UN resolution for a ceasefire have met with impasse after impasse. Calls for a pause in hostilities remain unanswered as Israel rejects demands for a ceasefire.
The people who are supposed to come in and stop the fight between two factions, they are taking sides. So when the people who are judges who are supposed to stop the war are taking sides or are very ineffective, that's why the war has lingered. Otherwise, the issue of Palestine, Gaza, Israel is something that can be ironed out on the negotiation table. Until the world will go back to pre-1948, I don't think there will be peace, to be honest. There will not be peace in the Middle East.
Do you see the solid foundation of the problem from both religion, from both faith? So, how do you solve this problem? And they are ignoring this aspect. They are only talking from the international politics perspective or only human rights activism. But I want to say, I am not supporting the killing in Palestine. Whether the Israeli, whether the Palestinian, whether the Christians, or whether the Muslims, I don't care. All I'm concerned is that they are destroying life and they should stop that killing. They are ignoring the scriptural perspective. They are only going from the political perspective. They can't succeed in the political perspective without marrying the sacred books, which all of them honored.
Yet, there are voices refusing to be silenced. From Johannesburg to London, ordinary citizens are calling for justice.
South Africa is going to really carry the day in the event of any votes in any international forum today that involves African, Asian, Caribbean or Latin American countries, because they are aware, they are conscious of the efforts, genuine and credible efforts of South Africa. You should know that South Africans have historically suffered from the pangs of apartheid system, and so nobody could just come and put those in their eyes.
The continued blockade of Gaza restricts not only movement, but hope. Essential supplies remain just out of reach, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. For the people of Gaza, the future remains uncertain, but there's one constant hope. Hope that the world will listen, hope that peace will one day replace the endless sounds of bombs. According to international humanitarian law, civilians must be protected during conflicts. The ongoing crisis in Gaza raises critical questions about the accountability of nations and the purpose of humanitarian conventions. Ibrahim Shehu, Trust TV News, Abuja.